We all float down here, Georgie.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Saglage, aka Sag. Today we're doing something a little different that we normally do. We are actually doing a kind of movie review for the new Stephen King version of It. And gotta say, very surprised, very surprised. Initial words to describe it, just surprising. Um, as always, Stephen King, the man of the hour, the guy that's written, I can't even count how many novels he's written about horror, just a horror genre itself. And one of the biggest things that of anybody's like reaction was the It trailer, the movie trailer itself. And gotta say, from a perspective of someone who's both a horror enthusiast and somewhat of a Stephen King enthusiast, there's books, guys. I gotta tell you, the books are like this thick, all of them. I'm not much of a reader, but I have read a couple, not front to back, but yeah. So anyway, um, as you guys probably know, there was a made-for-TV movie for It. I believe it was released in 1986. From what I'm gathering, I could be completely wrong, so don't take me um, as is. But the new one just came out this past week, not this Friday, but I believe it was September 8th, the release of the new It. And so when it did come out, I was supposed to bring one of my friends to go see it. And we kind of got pushed back from Hurricane Irma. So we were really excited to see it, really happy to do it. So we did so at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday. So the movie theater was packed. The theater itself was the cinema number that was supposed to be in was completely shut down. And when we got there, we didn't know that. And when we went online to conserve our tickets, because at the movie theater we go to, you have to pick which seats you're at. And so the best way to do that is to order it early. And so, of course, I used Fandango to order the tickets. I got the seats that I preferenced and set it in motion. When we got there, they said Theater 12. And so when we went to Theater 12, we looked and we're like, that's showing the Emoji Movie. Is it really Theater 12 or are they goofing off? And so I guess they expected. Sorry. I guess what happened, and sorry for back here, just kind of focusing on me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, sorry. Let me just kind of. Yeah. So what happened was there were some technical difficulties with the theater itself. So they had to move everyone from that theater to Theater 12. And so we just kind of hung out. I get to the movies early as is, and I like to sit, get situated, get seated, get relaxed before people start coming in. So we, of course, were the first ones there because we were 30 minutes early. It says to get there 30 minutes early to get your tickets, to get everything ready in order. And so that's what we did. And so there were people gathering around, and they just kept doing the same thing we just did. And so, but what was weird about it is I guess they were having trouble with teenagers going into movies where it was rated R or something that was the guy was trying to talk to me about it, and I explained to it because I was just curious about it, because where I grew up you can't go into the mall unless you're 16 or older, unless you have a guardian that's accompanying you. So I guess they were having trouble with people either sneaking in or getting dropped off, and problems happening with the kids that were being dropped off and whatnot. But that's not the point. The point is that we were excited to see it. We went to go see it, and change of plans. We had to move theaters. Not a big deal. The guy basically said that it is a first come first served basis because they had to move it, but at the same time, we were all adults about it, and we're like, well, we're just going to keep the same seats that we had. There's no sense in changing it up for no reason. So we get in there, we sit down, and theater starts, preview starts, whatnot. And right when the movie was supposed to start, where the lights dimmed down and the screen got a little wider, the movie stopped. And we were like, oh no. That's a problem, because we thought this theater had stopped and we're going to have to play musical theaters and just roam around the place until we found one. But no, someone went to talk to management and they were able to get it started. So which is that's a good thing, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm a little off centered. If that bothers you guys, I'll try to crop it here. But yeah, so I'm trying to keep the light out of your eyes. Sorry, I don't have a better way to do this right now. My wife's selfie stick is at the school, so it is what it is. Trying to make deal, and I could be cool about it and try to keep my arm up, but I'm lazy, so it is what it is. So anyway, we went to sit down. The movie started. Everything's going well now. Everything's back to procedure. We started the movie, I think 15 minutes late. And what I didn't understand is that this movie itself was 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that meant that, I was getting home late. And I didn't really want to do the late thing. But since my friend wanted that time, I decided to honor his wishes and do it then. Plus, he has to work a little later than me. So it is what it is. But, yeah. Some of the things that I will say about it is that is surprisingly funny for how scary and well made it is. It's very well done. There's a lot of comedy, like comedic, I guess, battle between the people, and it does kind of ease off the situation of this being a extremely scary movie. But here, let me just that's bothering me, so I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, so it's relatively funny for how scary it is. The kids are teenagers, early teenagers, middle school age, I guess, or maybe even high school. But they're going through a lot, and it's a transitional time and period within their lives. So you kind of for the younger crowd, you guys don't really understand, but for the middle age crowd to older crowd, they can understand a time and where they can understand how these kids feel, because we've lived through that process. That's another thing that a lot of people don't take into effect, is the age of the kids and how they deal with these things. It is set. I will say this: it is set based off of where the book was. It is set in the late 1980s, and so I was happy about that. I saw a lot of the things that I kind of knew when I was growing up. But again, where the first disappearance happens of the main character's younger brother, Georgie, that was a couple months right before I was born. So it was cool to see the younger age of the kids, and it's cool to see the stuff at that time and age, and the things that go on with that. So that was pretty cool to kind of relive the past, because I'm really a 90s kid, because I was set on the last year of the 80s. So gonna have to deal with that here soon. But yeah, no, it was well done. The time frame was great. Oh god, the clown itself, don't get me wrong, Tim Curry was one of the most well ranged actors of his time, and he did a lot of things that people couldn't do. And he obviously couldn't come back for Pennywise, and it's a shame, because I would have loved to see him react with these guys, but he would have been a little too old also. But the guy they got now, I think his name's Bill Skarsgård, I believe. If I'm butchering it, I'm sorry. But he's Kenny from We Are the Millers. And this kid is, the guy is gigantic. He's 6'5", and he's skinny. He's just awkward, and he's he did Tim Curry justice. I know he wasn't trying to do the Tim Curry Pennywise, but I'm sure that he looked at that role and researched it and stuff, and found that what Tim Curry did was make people so uncomfortable that it was just normal for him. And at the same time, he had like a sort of charisma to him, and so it's a bit of a different Pennywise. And I'll go ahead and insert the picture here so you guys can tell the difference as far as look wise go and what they were doing with the movie. So yeah, obviously the looks wise, Tim Curry I don't believe was that tall. I think he was only like right around 5'8" maybe, but he had that goofiness to him. And Bill Skarsgård, I don't, he's got that goofiness to him because I've seen it in other movies that he's been in, but it's just like this was the raw like horror aspect of it. And I was watching something came on. I just so happened to see a interview with the kids of the movie when they were talking about seeing the clown for the first time, and what production did to Bill Skarsgård was they wouldn't let him talk to the kids, the main characters, because what production said that they wanted was the real, true first moment that the kids saw the clown. And I gotta tell you, I was a little bit creeped out with how big and tall and skinny this guy was. And I'm not a small guy, and it's just the factor itself that these kids had to see this guy and look up at him in person in makeup when they were dealing with him. I mean, granted, he's probably a cool dude to hang out with outside of this, but if he's trying to do like a lot of the method actors do and douse themselves into the role, it was crazy. And I would have been taking a you know what in my pants if I saw him and I was a character in the movie. Um, but that brings me to another point: the characters. Actually, very well rounded. I was worried about how the kid, Billy, how he was going to do with the stutter because I know they had the stutter impediment in the book and in the first movie, and I was worried that child actors are very hard to come by where they do a good job and they understand the meaning behind things. And I feel like this kid did a pretty good job for the most part playing the Billy that is out there now. Um, you know, they stuck to the characters. Obviously, they kind of had to. But the biggest difference between this movie and the last movie is kind of explaining the story of Pennywise. And like, yeah, there was a little bit of explanation in the old one, but this one actually went back and explained everything, where it's like where he came from, what happened, how did he get there, uh, what's the importance of the kids, which we still really haven't quite figured out, but um, the story goes. And I honestly, it's been so long since I've seen the first movie. I'm not sure if they explain how many years has to go by before he comes back, but I will say for the first movie, I was impressed. A lot of people give it a hard time. I like it. It's a made for TV horror movie. You got to take it as is. Um, and Stephen King even himself said that this he gives his hand like he gives a hands to the team that have done the first part of it. And when I say by first part, I guys do your research. Don't sit here and say, "Oh, you spoiled the movie," blah blah blah. No, this is chapter one of the book. Chapter two, obviously, is when he comes back and they're adults and they start having the flashbacks. They start seeing everything, and it comes back to haunt them. Newsflash: the book's been out for how long now? Don't bitch at me for you ruining the spoiler. But people lost their mind in the theater when the credits started rolling and they saw that it was chapter one and that they didn't really expect it to be a chapter two. But no, it's gonna be good. I can tell you now that I'm gonna go watch it in theaters. Probably gonna go with the same people if they're still here. So just saying. I know I'm ready stopped up for that, but it's gonna be good. Hopefully they can get the same kind of actors that they got with the kids that they did with this. And maybe because I was so young when I watched it, I didn't really pick up on this. but there was very heavy, like really uncomfortable parts of the movie. I'm not going to talk too much into it, but there was a very like in the first movie I thought that the dad with the daughter I thought he just physically abused her, but there were notions in this one that was a little bit more than that, and don't really want to get further into it, but and this girl, she has a reputation that supersedes her that she didn't really deserve, and people just called it because they didn't know her, they didn't take the time, which kids today and kids back then are like that, but yeah, even the clerk at the pharmacist, that guy was kind of creeping me out too, and there was a really weird vibe there. So yeah, don't really want to talk about that stuff, but anyway, as far as the movie goes, was it worth seeing? Very much so. Um, would I suggest you go into theaters to see it? Hell yeah. Do I suggest you getting it on maybe renting it online? Yeah, for sure. If you don't see it in theaters, you have to see it. This is one of those movies that's well worth it. The acting's great. The setups are great. And even like it was weird because like I keep going back to it, but the comedic performance to give you guys that little rest in between, like it's not jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. It's a build. And like yeah, there's jump scares in it, but the comedic performance lets you relax. Doesn't make you like doesn't make you feel like you're going to be part of that nonstop jump scare, if you know what I mean. So as far as it goes, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. If you want to go see it, go see it. If you want to hear about it, read online. I'm just going to tell you my version and what I think they did well, what I think that they could have done better. The only thing that I think that they could have done better with is there were times in the movie where it was just it was kind of choppy, meaning that like the flow of the movie just kind of like wasn't mesh exactly. Like you'd tell that they were going to go for something and they probably left out or edited out like something they didn't think needed to be there. But there were just a couple of times where they just needed smoother transitions and they didn't have it. But at the same time, I'm not going to fault them for that because you guys have seen my stuff. I'm not a pro editor. I don't know how this shit works. But I mean, it just you guys will tell if you guys haven't seen it yet. You guys will be able to tell. The transition is just there's because like 3/4 of the movie in before they go to the actual tunnels, they like had a fight and where everyone went their separate ways, and my buddy turns to me and he goes, this is kind of slowing down. Is this, they better not leave it here. I was like, yeah, it feels like it's about to be ended here. But no, it picked right back up after we said that. It was weird. I don't know really, like, I get it. They were trying to, like, slow everything down, make it seem like nothing's going on. They had nothing without each other. But, it was just weird. And, but of course, everybody's playing the same roles that they were. Obviously not the same actors, but it was well done from both casts, the first movie and this movie. But, overall, I'd say see it in theaters. I would give it a ranking, and again, my ranking is I wouldn't put 2 grains of salt with it because it's my opinion and your opinions are going to be different than mine. But if I had to rate it out of 10, I would give it about an 8, and that's a very high 8. I don't really do well with like issuing ratings to movies because honestly, who the fuck am I to give out all these ratings? But, I do love my horror. So, if you guys like the same genres and same stuff that I like, or you like watching the same games I like playing, then you guys will obviously be really into it. It got to the fact where my wife wanted, like, even after seeing the previews, my wife wanted to go see it. But at the same time, I think she was being nice and being respectful and saying that, it's a mandate. with, you know, you and your buddy. He wants to go with you. I can stay at home, which she did, and she was nice enough to wish us well and text me while I was in the movie. Don't worry, I didn't open it, didn't see what was going on, but yeah, have that kind of stuff. So that basically wraps it up, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it kind of got rambling on there for a while. I didn't really write down exactly what I wanted to talk about. I just really wanted to talk about it because of how well it was. And can't wait for Chapter 2 to come out. But before I go, let me just say, whoa! I really want to wear this t-shirt because it sets the pace of what I'm talking about. And if you guys can't tell, it's a skull, but look what it is. It's kitties! But with that being said, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed me talking about a movie that I enjoyed over the weekend. It's worth seeing, so if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you take some time, get some money from your parents or from yourself, put some money to a side. It's only $12 a ticket at night, so yeah, the movies are getting expensive, but this is something worth it. So put your kids to bed, have someone look after them if you have kids. If not, just say, hey, you and me, we're going to go see this tonight. But do take some time because it's 2 hours and 15 minutes of a runtime. And it does take all of those minutes into it. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. Comment if you want. Subscribe if you haven't. And don't know why I said that because this is what's going to go right. Alright guys, thanks for watching. As always, like if you did, comment if you want, subscribe if you haven't. Check on the right side for my Twitter if you want to get in touch with me, as well as my YouTube channel if you want to subscribe. On the video ahead of you is the previous video. Click that if you want to watch, and I hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.